DotLearn presents Programming for Beginners, Part 3. A lot of people think, to program, you need to read a lot of books and stress yourself out. But it doesn't have to be that way. We will help you make adjustments to excel and make the best out of your time. So let's start with the basic CSS explanations. This is a rule set, or set of rules, where your CSS code is written and executed from. Every CSS code must be written in this order. Next, we have the CSS selector, which is the element chosen to modify, the element that will be affected by the CSS code within the rule set. Here is the declarations that contains the properties which are the characteristic of the selected element, and the values that are the values of the properties. Now that you got that over with, let's style some HTML elements with CSS. First, let's open an editor. Today, I'm using Visual Studio Code, so I'm also going to display my HTML file in a web browser. So create a file and save as to rename it. Make sure to type .html at the end to let the editor and the web browser know that this is a HTML file. Now let's type the basic HTML setup. Within the head tag is where the style tag or the CSS tag will go. Setting up your CSS like this is called embedded style sheet. Now let's type a h1 tag to apply our CSS to. If you're using an editor, don't forget to drag and drop your file into the web browser and reload the page. After you're done with that, go ahead and add the CSS code in between the CSS tags. If you need a bit of clarification, don't hesitate to visit the first part of this video where we explain the basic CSS code setup. Here we will edit the h1 tag's color using the color property, and a value of blue will be given. Next, we'll edit the font size property of the h1 tag. I also want to point out what is happening. While we're adding properties to the CSS rule set, we are actually modifying properties that the h1 tag already has but has not been changed, while also having a default value to, which we are currently changing by using CSS. The other property you can edit is font family, which is just the way the text is displayed, the style of the text, or how it looks. An example will be bold or italics, as well as many others. You can also use CSS to change the placement of the h1 element by using margin, that is setting the amount of space that there is between the h1 element and the borders of the web page window and other elements that might be in the web page. Or by using text align, which directly aligns the h1 text to the center of the web page on the x-axis. CSS can also modify the rotation of elements on whichever axis, X, Y, or Z. To do this, edit the transform property and specify the axis on which you want to change the element's rotation. On purpose, I'm going to do something wrong, and I want you to pause and try to figure out what is wrong with the transform properties declaration. If you said that it was because I typed it in a string rather than just the raw value, you are correct. You must type the value raw in order for it to work. If you have made it to the end of this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Also follow us on socials. Info is in the description.